guys, my name is Jasmine. Welcome to my channel if you're new. Welcome back if you're not. 2 years ago, I was literally in the lead role in a play that I learned in 3 weeks. And now I can pretty much go my entire day without doing anything at all. I remember thinking, this sucks, you know? Like if you know me, you know I love to have tons of things to do. I kind of love to be under the wire. I love to have, especially if they're artistic jobs and things like that, I love doing those types of things. And I wasn't doing anything with my life, which is putting me in this terrible like thought spiral of, you know, you're useless, you don't really have anything to do. And by some type of divine intervention, I find this video basically talking about all these intellectual hobbies like reading literature, learning a language, learning a musical instrument, taking up an art, baking, and all those things. And I remembered I actually really love to do those things in general. So this video is going to be me taking you through all those things I actually like to do anyway. We're going to be painting this new painting that I want to put up in my apartment at some other time when I get an apartment. We're going to be relearning this aria that I was learning in college. I'm going to show you how to read like a smart girl, but I want to go ahead and give it a little bit of a disclaimer and say these are not the only intellectual or hot activities, okay? Some people are athletic, some people love the maths and sciences, and that's good for you. This is just what I like to do, okay? So first I'm going to go ahead and brush my teeth, and then I'm going to make my tea, and I'm also going to be doing my vocal warm-ups as well. So that was a little bit rough, but all I was trying to do basically is just show myself how much I remembered so that I could go back to, you know, actually figure out what I needed to learn or relearn. So what I'm gonna do now is I've earned myself a croissant, and then I'm going to actually study the music. I'm basically just gonna be circling places and all that good stuff. So I know what I actually need to go back and learn. It's cold outside, which is so irritating for me because I was gonna go on one of those hot girl walks today. I'm only about a week away from my period. I'm bloated. I could feel it as I was wearing that white dress yesterday, and I know you could see it because I was editing the footage back yesterday and I could see it. So I was gonna go ahead and take a walk and talk a little bit about my fitness journey and just how like fitness in general can be another like hot person hobby that you could do. But like I said, it's cold and I am not my best self when it's cold outside. So I was just gonna throw this entire day of filming in the trash. But then I remembered this TikTok that I was watching where this girl was talking about how she does smart girl reading. And honestly, I was gonna click out of the video because she was on some, like, Jane Austen, Bronte sisters nonsense, and like, no offense that if that's your thing, I know Wuthering Heights just came out and all that, but like, that's just not me at all. My reading repertoire literally stems from like YA contemporary romance to 18th century dirty French lit, like with almost nothing in between. But like, what kept me on her video was that she was talking about how she finds a scholarly article and she reads it alongside reading the book, so that she not only gets the author's perspective, but she also gets like another perspective, like from someone who wrote the article, usually a feminist perspective. And so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna try her intellectual girl reading. I have my tablet for my scholarly article, and I was going to either do Les Liaisons Dangereuses, or I was going to do The Hunchback of Notre Dame by Victor Hugo, but I left both of those books at my parents' house. And honestly, there's so much discourse already on The Hunchback of Notre Dame that I didn't want to get overwhelmed when trying to find an article. So I decided to do Juliet by Marquis de Sade, which is going to be interesting considering the fact that his name is literally where we get the word sadism from. So yeah, Hot Girl Walk canceled. Let's go ahead and read some unhinged French lit. That was an experience. So I actually only got this book because, like I said, his name is where we get the word sadism from. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I thought people were just being dramatic. This was in the 1700s. I thought to myself, at best, people were just gonna be like, oh no, he talked about her knee, or like she showed some thigh in the book, like alert the presses. No, they were not. I flipped around a little bit in this book, and this may have been written in the 1700s, but this is not some little Regency romance. This is not Bridgerton, okay? It's about these two nuns who leave the convent, and there's an orgy scene in there where these women are just covered in the holy body, if you know what I mean, right? This man used words that I had never quite heard used in these particular contexts, right? I mean, he took body parts and turned them into adjectives basically to describe what was happening to these women, right? And I just remember reading and being like, no, not the nuns, right? They went from being on their knees praising the Lord to receiving an entirely different sacrament, if you will. And it was at that moment that I knew intellectual girl reading time is over, right? Not that like it was too much for me, because honestly, this is right up my alley, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I have hyperphantasia, which means I can see everything playing out in my head like it's a literal movie. And there are just some things that I can't unsee right now, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make these cookies that I saw on TikTok. They're these oatmeal breakfast cookies that I saw with strawberries in them, and I've been really excited to make those. And to be quite honest, I also need a bit of a mental palate cleanser because because I'm about to work with Greek yogurt. Turn around. So as you can see, the cookies won't be ready for another maybe like 23 minutes at this point. So I'm going to paint the painting that I have been working on for, honestly, this has been a painting that's about 2 years in the making, but it took me about, I don't know, a week or so to get to this point right here, which is good timing. This is the Alhambra in Granada, Spain. This is one of those places I've always wanted to go to. And I told myself, you know what, I wasn't gonna wait until I was there to take a picture and paint something beautiful, nor was I going to wait until I actually have the apartment to put it in to paint something beautiful. I was going to just fill my current space with all of these beautiful paintings. I'm also doing one up here, which you can't see. I might showcase it though, but I'm doing one up here that's going to be the Amalfi Coast. I haven't really gotten fully to there yet though, because today was just more of a day where I wanted to add just a few more things in, a few more details before my cookies are done, so that I don't get so into it that my cookies burn, which is something that has happened before. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint just a little bit, and then we're gonna test out these cookies. Okay, these came out so much darker than I expected. But in my defense, I did say that I was not really great at cookies and baking and all that. This is like my least strong talent. When it comes to baking of any kind, absolutely no, ma'am. But here's my final attempt. My little dilapidated cookies. I think they're kind of cute, sort of. I mean, they're a little misshapen, but they're interesting. I'm not going to showcase the TikTok that I got this from because I genuinely don't think this was what it tasted like for her. That can't be what these are meant to taste like. And it's hot. That part with the chocolate right there was good, but this tastes like like breakfast despair. Oh my god. Okay, as you guys can see, I got a chance to take my hot girl walk today, which I'm not gonna lie, it's so refreshing. I always feel so much better when I do things like that. And so that's actually the reason why I added it on into one of the hobbies, because ever since I started my fitness journey, first off, I went down 4 sizes, which is absolutely fantastic. But even more than that, I feel like just like I'm taking control of my health. And those flowers are so beautiful to me that I literally wanted to step in those people's yard and just kind of like capture those a little bit more. But I was afraid that they were gonna have a dog that was gonna feel like I was trespassing. So I moseyed on along. So what I'm gonna do now basically is I'm going to add a little bit of like a wispy cloud situation to my Amalfi Coast painting. And then I'm going to go back to the kitchen, but instead of baking this time, I am going to be making some lomo saltado. Like, I love cooking, and I think cooking is such a good like hot person hobby or whatever. Even though it's actually also really just a skill that you should have in general, but I love cooking meals from around the world. I'm also going to be practicing my Spanish. I love learning languages. I'm also learning French and Egyptian Arabic at the same time. And one of those things that I actually love to do is listen to people like actually speak the native language, not just on like a Duolingo type of thing or whatever, but like through vlogs and like through movies, and I listen to music and stuff like that. And so what I'm gonna be doing now is I'm gonna be watching this girl's vlogs. I used to do this when I was really into makeup tutorials too. But I would listen to people who I already watched anyway. And there's this girl who has vlogs, and she does them in English, and they're like book vlogs and things like that around her life in California. And she also does Spanish language vlogs as well. So I'm going to be cooking some lomo saltado while also watching her vlogs and just kind of, you know, learning a language as I'm also cooking.
Uno de esos air fresheners, el que se conecta a la pared y hace que tu cuarto huela bonito.
Te compré 2 de estas hojas de coco. También compré este jugo que contiene zanahoria.
Y esto ya lo expliqué un poco en mi canal de inglés, pero son más de las 12. Entonces, una de mis metas es ser mucho más intencional uno al mes. Hay días por pasar tanto tiempo en mi celular.
One thing I've been trying to do more is make the things I already enjoy count more toward having a richer life. I think I get so caught up in feeling like my life has to look like the dream life I've planned out for any of it to actually count, that I forget actually living it is the whole point. Like, I'm learning 3 languages at the same time. And just like my life in general, it feels really slow. I have to watch things a few times and then watch them back with subtitles, then make a list of the words I don't know, look up those words, watch it again with the listener by, and then again without subtitles, and then again just to make sure I actually have the listening part down before I can finally move on. Because experience and repetition is how we learn anything. And I think I'm going to end the vlog here, but that's why I felt so important to do all of these things today. Because the more I remind myself how full my life already is, the more I teach my nervous system that it's safe for it to get even fuller.